And welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Matt Del Vecchio, specializing in life transitions, the senior living industry, and elder care planning. And talk about brave. I'd like to talk about a brave young woman and her brave and courageous family giving back. Jaclyn Fisher was a passionate, determined young woman who died at the tender age of 25 years old. Well, we have Jaclyn's mom, Rena Fisher, on the line with me. Rena, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Hi, Matt. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you for taking some time. Could you please tell us about Jaclyn's story? I guess starting when she was diagnosed at an early age, wasn't she, with Crohn's disease?
With Crohn's disease, yes. She was a very normal, active, lively child up until the age of 9, where she suddenly came down with Crohn's disease, apparently. It took a while to come to terms with what's going on and to diagnose her, but from there on, we and Jackie herself sort of made peace with the condition and learned to live with it. It was an adjustment for sure, and she was really quite a trooper and a leader even in the Crohn's colitis world and foundation, and was determined to help others learn to live with it and understand the condition, especially educators and other people who are not aware. So it was a challenge, but one that she met really maturely and very well.
You know, and she certainly did, and you must have been proud as parents to see her, despite the circumstances, really thrive, and a lot of it was due to her energetic personality, Rena. So could you tell us a little bit about who she was and that personality?
Yeah, Jackie was special, and I am saying that as her parent, but I think so many people who knew her still come up to us and tell us what a special girl, woman, young woman, or person she was. She was very passionate about so many things. She was curious about so many things. She wanted to better and help others. She was a leader in her school, especially high school, with all kinds of educational programs and fundraisers, and not just for Crohn's colitis. She fundraised for a heart condition and anything else that came across her way. And she was on student council. She organized a whole day event for her school. The same in Cégep, and couldn't pass a homeless person on the street without having a half-hour discussion about how this is inconceivable in this first world country of ours, and or other cities that we visited, and how unfair things can be, life can be. She was very keenly aware of that. I think all of that made her really mature in a way that, although some people would say she was an old soul to begin with, but definitely mature in looking at the world beyond just fun and games. With that, let me say that Jackie was really quite a fashionista and very stylish, a gorgeous girl, and had a special nose for perfume that her Cégep friends are still talking about, and how she would see things. She was very creative, so she would see, say, scents in colors, and would be able to match things and all of that. So very unique in many ways, and very, very loyal, fiercely loyal to her friends, to any institution that she was involved with, and to her family, of course, to all of us. And she was really the heart and the glue of the family.
You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. Sorry to cut you off, Rena, because I do want to talk about the foundation. And we are talking to Rena Fisher, the mom of Jaclyn Fisher, who passed away at 25 years old. But her legacy lives on through the Jaclyn Fisher Foundation, which you and your husband, Larry, created, and your daughter Rachel's also involved. So I want to get the word out here. What do you hope to obtain by this wonderful foundation?
So this is a project and endeavor that we actually conceived with Jackie while she was in hospital, because the last 4. So we talked about Crohn's, Matt. I just want to mention that at 21, she was again completely out of the blue diagnosed with cancer. That is not colon cancer. It was primary peritoneal cancer. And so the best we can assume is that it was more related to some of the harsh medications that she was on than to the Crohn's itself. And so at 21, she was we were again plucked out of life and into the twilight zone. Some other dimension of living, and that was much harder than the Crohn's to deal with. It was 4 very difficult years for Jackie, a lot of them spent in hospitals in Boston and here in Montreal. And during that stay, and especially once we came back to Montreal, Jackie started thinking about how to improve things again for patients like herself, young patients, and how to maybe help life in the hospital go smoother. And so the idea of the foundation was born. And of course, after she passed, we decided to continue that in her name and her honor, and as a way of bringing her forward with us. And so Jackie lives through all that we do in her name. Mm-hmm. With the foundation.
It's such a wonderful story, and she showed tremendous resilience after so many surgeries and treatment, and I'm so glad to hear she was also involved in the foundation. And so can you give us a couple of examples of some of the causes that the Jaclyn Fisher Foundation supports, Rena?
Yes. So we are involved in the whole myriad of things. We get some cold requests from people, organizations that we're not connected with, like La Rue de Femmes, that we'll talk about later. We are supporting larger institutions like the Jewish General Hospital, CHW, but our heart is really with smaller projects and smaller organizations that don't necessarily have government funds or very direct funding from other sources. So we support things like the Geordie Theatre, something like Lucan, which is a childhood cancer leukemia, which again is a very large organization. We actually teamed up with for a smaller project, which is Giving Tuesday. So for the past couple of years, we did that with them. Larry here is reminding me that we actually tuned into your station and helped
Vince Pisano, that's right. You called in during a live show and made a tremendous donation to his Alzheimer's cause in honor of his dad.
For his daughter, who was doing the fundraiser in honor of their dad, right? Because of the kind of young leader that she was, like Jackie. So those are the kinds of things that we do. Sometimes anonymously, sometimes with naming rights for Jackie, and we love getting these requests from smaller organizations that we can really make a difference.
Right, supporting them where you can make a difference. I love traffic very soon. One more quick question, because Jackie had a mantra, and it was called "Life is for living." And can you explain what she meant by that?
I think just what it means, Matt. I think she basically felt that no matter what life throws at you, let's live it well. Let's live it happily. Let's do our best with it, and not allow ourselves to get down in the mire. And that is what we're trying to do, which he made us promise we will continue doing. And we often ask ourselves, what would Jackie do? What would Jackie say? And whatever the answer that we feel would have been is what we try to follow.
Right. for some direction. I just love that. We're talking with Lianas Fisher and telling some wonderful stories about her daughter, Jaclyn Fisher, and they created this wonderful Jaclyn Fisher Foundation. And you mentioned, Rena, that she couldn't go by a homeless person, which is going to lead into our next segment, because you've just opened up in conjunction with La Rue des Femmes, and you've opened up Jaclyn's house, and we're going to talk about, if you could please stay on the line, because we have another representative from La Rue des Femmes that will be joining both of us, and we're going to hear about that. Welcome back. You're listening to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Matt Delvecchio, and we were just talking to Lianas Fisher about her daughter Jaclyn and the Jaclyn Fisher Foundation. Rena was talking about their most recent passion contribution to a wonderful cause. We still have Rena on the line, and it's called La Maison Jaclyn, or Jaclyn's House, an outreach clinic for women in a state of homelessness. And I'd also like to bring in the coordinator of Jaclyn's House at La Rue des Femmes, Madame Anne-Gaëlle Whiteman. Anne-Gaëlle, welcome to Life Unrehearsed.
Hi, Matt. Thank you very much for having us on your show.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you both taking some time. And some of us may not know about La Rue des Femmes, so can you please tell us about your mission and the vision of La Rue des Femmes?
Yes, La Rue des Femmes, we have 3 houses. We have, and each house corresponds to a level of healing homelessness. So it's like Jaclyn's house is like the emergency room. Then we have Olga's house, where the women can stay from 1 month to years there. They have their own rooms with a bathroom, and they can go further with the healing process that they're going through. And after that, we have another house, which is studios, where they can stay 2 years and work out their autonomy. And that's studios where with a supervisor, there's a worker there all day long.
Right.
But so each house corresponds to a level of healing, because for us, homelessness is not only a matter of like financial or reinsertion in French, you're saying?
Yeah, reintegration.
Yeah. For us, it's a matter of health, of relational health. And it's all the women that are in a state of homelessness are living with this post-traumatic syndrome disorder. Mm-hmm. And it's everything they went through during their childhood for most of them. And as long as we won't heal that, we won't acknowledge that that's the roots of homelessness, we can put them in an apartment. Yes, it's necessary for everyone to have an apartment and a place safe where to live, but the demons are still inside. It's like the veterans that are coming from the war. They were functioning before, they're going to war, they're coming back with a stress PTSD, and then they don't function anymore. And even if you tell them, stay in your home with your wife, with your kids, it's not going to work. You have to heal first. You have to go to the roots. So that's what we're doing. We're healing homelessness at La Rue des Femmes.
And Gail, you talked about reintegration into society, and that's so important. So can you share an example of a couple reintegration stories with us?
Of course, we have some women that once they're healed and they can live with themselves in an apartment. We have many of them that we place in apartments, but we keep the follow-ups and we keep working with them because we become like a whole family, you know. Then the main goal is for them to reunite with their children, you know, because they all lost their children. After that, at La Rue des Femmes, we have the women that are most wounded in Montreal right now. So will they be capable of working like you and me with a bus over their head from 9 to 5 and all that? I don't think so. But they'll do what they can and at their own speed. So the main thing is for them to embrace the healing process and then take the time to heal through all kind of ways and programs and helps that we have at La Rue des Femmes. And then eventually we go slowly. We follow their rhythm. For some women, it could be faster. For some other women, it would be longer. But that's okay because the point is that they heal. So there's no going backwards afterwards.
And you're going at their pace. I love that.
That's the main point. It's not. I mean, you're not gonna work with a lady that is in the streets for like 20 years, using drug as an automedication, being homeless in the street and go through all kind of, violence. And you have an intervention plan with a social worker, and in 3 months you're supposed to be back in an apartment, have a job, contact your family. No,
it doesn't happen like that. No, totally understand.
You can see it with the veterans. Yeah. It's a long process, and the wounds will stay, but the goal is that they don't have to hurt so much, and they don't have to control your life.
Right. Listening to Life Unrehearsed, Matt Del Vecchio, and that's the voice of Anne-Gail Whiteman from La Rue des Femmes. We're running out of time, but we absolutely, Rena, I'm going to bring you back in here, Rena Fisher, and I'd love to hear about, how this whole process started and how you ended up creating with La Rue des Femmes this wonderful Fisher Outreach Clinic for women in a state of homelessness. Can you tell us about it?
So, yes, we call it Jackie's Clinic. And as I said, we unfortunately have never heard of La Rue des Femmes. I think it was shocking and humbling to us when we first went to visit and got acquainted with Leonie Couture and her staff. These 3 homes exist and how much they help. So we were immediately on board with helping them somehow. But again, as I said, we like to create programs or something a little more specific. And so one of their needs was to have an urgent medical care facility, because a lot of these women are too hurt and not trusting enough to even go to a hospital, even though pregnant or raped or really severely hurt. And so if they could be treated on the premises by some of their intervenants, some of their trained staff, and they have a nurse from the CEOs who comes in, who is assigned to them, that made we knew would make a tremendous difference in these women's lives. So just to discover what they're doing and I thank you for bringing it out to some of the more English community, because, we hear a lot about the men's shelters, but not so much about women, because they scurry at night. They're afraid to be seen, and so that they have less of a presence even on the street, but their needs are just as great. And so our hearts were melting. We had no doubt for a second that Jackie would be completely behind this project. And we're thrilled to be able to have a clinic that addresses some of their needs, and that by no means all of it, but that helps move these women along. And I just want to thank Anne-Gail and Leonie, and a heartfelt thanks to the women who at the ceremony, inauguration ceremony, opened their hearts to us and to share their stories, which is such a big trusting move on their part. So really, thank you.
All right, Rena, we are out of time, and Anne-Gail as well. I want to thank both of you, and great. This is new. This is just within a month, and want to wish you much success with Jackie's Clinic. Now, real quick, Rena, if our listeners want to find out a little bit more about the Jaclyn Fisher Foundation, where can they go?
Yes. Thank you. Jackie.org. Couldn't be simpler.
Okay, great.
We're grateful for all the donations coming in all the time, for all our supporters, all the people who remember Jackie. Even just a note to on the website to say we remember is so meaningful to us. And please,
right.
There are pictures there and her life story. Jackie.org.
Jackie.org. And real quick, Anne-Gail, if people want to find out about La Rue des Femmes, where can they go?
They can go also on the website of laruedesfemmes.org, and you can see everything we do, and if you want to do donations also, and our vision, and some wonderful témoignages from the ladies. And yes, Mrs. Fisher, it was a beautiful day when you came. It was so ladies that made all their testimony to you, and they felt so thankful and so honored to have that clinic, and I think you felt it.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
I want to thank, and good on you guys. Keep it. I'm wishing you much success, and thank you very much for taking a little time to get the word out.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. It's Rena Fisher, proud mom, continuing the legacy of her daughter, Jaclyn, and Anne-Gail Whiteman, the coordinator for the Jackie's Clinic, the Fisher Outreach Clinic for women in a state of homelessness. Next week on Life Unrehearsed, it's Hearing Loss Awareness Week. We're going to be talking to the Oral School of the Deaf, and we will have a young man on the show that had a cochlear implant that literally changed his life, and we're going to have the executive director of the Canadian Centre for Caregiving Excellence offering some valuable words of advice to caregivers. Thanks for tuning in to Life Unrehearsed. And as a reminder, for all your inquiries or assistance with life transitions, elder care planning, and the senior living industry, it'd be my pleasure to help. You could find out more. Just look us up at Lianas Senior Transition Support. Lianas Senior Transition Support. Many thanks to our technical producer, Dan. Great job. Thank you very much. And you can listen to Life Unrehearsed here on CJD 800 every Sunday at 4 p.m.